We've got another anecdote about circuits on the top of a hill with a similar thing with called clay pigeon, but I don't think we've got time for that because we've got a race to begin. Let's have a look at the grid, the last X30 senior race of the day. It's already had drama because your pole sitter isn't on the grid. Jan Gomez missed the gate closing at 18:16 and will not take the start. Joseph Smith will be on his own on the front row of the grid. Adrian Martinez and Marcus Luzio defending very strong positions in the intermediate classification start on row 2. Christian Caballero and Adam Rahali start on row 3. Thibaut Ramicus and Keo Lee start on row 4. Gus Lawrence and David Dragan start on row 5 ahead of Reimer Blanc and Thomas Hansen, who is on dry tyres in the 6th row of the grid there. Eduardo Dominguez and Hugo Gelade start on row 7. Finn McLaughlin and Francois Delati start on row number 8. Row 9 is Connor Grant and Yanis Bouillet.
Sam van der Heijden and Arthur Sort then round out the top 20 on row number 10. You've got Oni Tuiscu. A question mark whether or not that Oni is on dry tyres as well. I got a message come through on my mobile saying that that was the case, but we'll confirm that one as well. Luca Bertoni starting alongside. Austin Gale and Rafael Rajani, they go from row 12. Luke Taylor and Lewis Bird on row 13. Marlon Vata and Luca Horton on row 14 from Alexander Ruta and Luca de Gran. Then you've got Jean Pablo Giard, Dylan Patel and Victor Kumala rounding out the grid. There is your hard-working race control team. You've got it being headed up from Joana Falco, you've got Gonzalo Plata, and you have got Sara Blanco at the helm of race control, keeping a close eye on everything. And I can imagine they will be watching back the paddock camera to make sure that no one was using any tools past that gate.
Indeed. Observations.
Oh, I like an observation. Go for it.
Window watch for the raindrops.
It stopped.
I'm not seeing any fresh raindrops. Secondly, kind of expecting to a degree rooster tails of spray coming off of the wet tyres.
Not seeing any.
And they're not.
Yeah.
It's not as wet as perhaps we thought out there.
Now, I want to clarify who the kart is that's going around turn 2 now, miles back. Now, is that our driver?
It's Thomas Hansen. He's not come through.
Is that Thomas Hansen?
Through sector number 1 yet?
Okay. I just want to clarify because it's the 348 and the 248 that I've got a question mark on. We've definitely confirmed Thomas Hansen is on slick tyres. There's just a question mark on the 248. I think they're on wets for Oni Tuiscu.
Okay then. Well, two the non-starters out there. Jan Gomez, as mentioned. Yanis Bouillet doesn't take the start. Luca de Grange is a withdrawal from the event. This is going to be 9 of the craziest laps you've seen so far this year in the IAME Euro Series. The forlorn look of the kart in the 214 just goes underneath us in the commentary box. Jan Gomez will not take, of course, the start, having missed the gate. If you're just joining us, it means that Joseph Smith has the job of controlling the pace from the outside of row 1 on his own. P2 will immediately become P1. Anthony, over to you.
Thank you very much. Well, here we go. Well, this is an interesting one as we get going. It's a huge leap there for Joseph Smith as we do go green and racing down towards turn number 1. Let's see how the traction levels are as they go through turn number 1. You can see how dark it is now as we are a little bit behind schedule here after that sudden downpour of rain. The track is now wet. The first time we're having a wet run race here. The wet tyres are on, but I suspect this track will dry very, very quickly, seeing as the wind is very high here as well. Joseph Smith getting squeezed out wide there as he goes wheel to wheel with Marcus Luzio. Remember, Luzio has the 0 points to his name. If he wins this race, he's all good. Spinner at the back of the grid, that's Juan Pablo Girard. Unfortunately, he's had a weekend to forget, really, in this one. Big shame for him, but he spins and he's at the back of the grid in this one. My question mark is then on Thomas Hansen in the 348. He is the driver we need to keep an eye on this one as the track conditions get drier and drier. He is the one we need to watch and see if he closes in.
He has just come through sector 1 now.
Right.
He's just completed sector number 1, started a long way off the back of the field. So it's effectively half a lap behind already. But if it does dry out here, there's enough time that he could close in. And if he does close in, it'll be like a missile flying through this order. Good move there from Joseph Smith. Down the inside of Mustienes, takes second place. Mustienes immediately fires back down the inside into turn 1. They're behind Marcus Luzio by 0.7. But again, it just doesn't look that wet out there. And you've got to think about the tyres. And if the drivers who are on the full wets. Everyone's gone out on brand new wet tyres. The tread blocks are going to be high. They could be shredding these tyres to bits.
Well, luckily, they do get 2 sets of wet tyres, and there's no rain due tomorrow, so this could be the only time they use these wet, so I don't think there's any cause for concern on that one. Lucio leads the way then. He's managed to get past Adrian Martinez, and he holds on to that one. So at the moment, it's Lucio who leads the intermediate classifications from Danny Carinini, so both of those would start on pole position. Ruben Moyer at this moment in time would get promoted to starting alongside on the front row, the same as Andrea Martinez, who would start alongside for Superheat 2 tomorrow. If they stay in these positions, anything can happen. It's a long old race down the inside there. Change as it is the 2:49 of Raymond Blanc getting past Joseph Smith. No, Smith holds the door, but then goes wide, and down the inside goes Raymond Blanc and up into P3. So big changes happening here at the moment, but Hugo Lee, you can just see there in the background, just coming through as well. The 264 looking very strong in these wet conditions.
Adam Rahali lost a number of positions on that last lap, ran wide out of turn number 8, is down as far as 11th place. I'm keeping an eye on the sector times for Hansen. They're not at a pace that would worry the wet runners at the moment. 27.9 through sector number 1. All the wet runners are running 24s and 25s. There is the battle involving Martinez in the middle of all of that. And the 3-2-6 falling down the order there. That's Caballero. That's the other one of the kids to win entries. Caballero needing a good result. Had a DNF yesterday. And this long program for the seniors that started 7 rounds of qualifying, 6 heats for every single driver. Only the top 72, of course, go through to the super heats.
I think I'm seeing some fresh raindrops on the windscreen of the commentary box here again, so it could all fall apart for Thomas Hansen here, but again, question mark still out on it. Eyes on this as the traction levels are non-existent. Remember, they've had several full days of racing on the slick tyres. They've plastered a huge amount of rubber down on that circuit, which means it's like driving on ice effectively. A good analogy that I like to use for wet racing and why you're seeing drivers taking that wide, dirty line is that if you've ever washed dishes and you've used the wet rubber gloves on there, if they're dry rubber gloves and you put them together, it's nice and grippy. A side by side here. I'll forget that analogy. As here, Joseph Smith is fighting for his position. QLE trying to get through as well, not able to do so. Lewis Bird down the inside now, and Austin Gale, his fellow teammate, trying to get through as well. One of them does, one of them doesn't. I think it's Austin Gale who didn't get through. Bird did. But Joseph Smith still there. Now back down the inside, it looks like Sam van der Heijden trying to get involved as well. As Joseph Smith off the track, he's lost 4 positions there. He is struggling in these conditions here to try and get temperature into those tyres. While that has semi-calmed down, no, I won't continue because it's still kicking off. Here we go, as 314 is going through. There's Adam Rahali on Hugo Gelade now trying to get involved. Yeah, confirmation, rain is coming down again. So for Thomas Hansen, slick tyres is not going to work out for him. It's going to be wets all the way.
Wets all the way. He's 33 seconds off the back of the pack, and he's in the 131s, whereas everybody else is in the 117s, the 118s. It was a gamble. It was worth the risk in his situation, but it has not paid off for Thomas Hansen. Well, look at this. The Brits are coming through. Lewis Bird has gained 19 positions in this race so far. Make that 20 now, up to 6th place. Who else is excelling in these conditions? As I think that's the 300
that's
of Juan Pablo Girard, who had already had a spin earlier in the race. Up 18 positions, Austin Gale. 20 is mentioned for Lewis Bird. 12 for Sam van der Heijden. So the Dutch driver having a great run there. Hugo Gelade on the improve as well. Up for 5. Victor Kulmala has also gained another positions. Has gained 14. Those are big movers in the race so far, which has only reached halfway, of course, because it's a lap count. We're on lap number 5. There is the 2:26 of Austin Gale on your screens, as that is going to be Hansen, I think, sensibly just pulling to drivers right and out the way, having received the blue flags.
Some yellow flags out there as well, so some drivers in trouble. I'm going to say it's possibly, actually, it could be this one here, the 252 that's gone off. Who is that?
That's Smith. That's Joseph Smith in trouble in the dark. And Joseph Smith is going to tumble down the order here effectively. Well, once the demise of Jan Gomez started first, but is not going to finish. But in fact, I don't think he's going to finish at all. Going very slowly. He's just gone past Hansen there. I think we might have a look at what's happened here to Joseph Smith, if we can. He's coming into the pits.
Oh, and that's Raymond Blanc.
Raymond Blanc as well is out of this race.
Well, Raymond Blanc had a fantastic start, gained so many positions, got up into to third. Is that Raymond Blanc? Because Raymond Blanc is still third on my timing screen here.
Now he's going to start tumbling down the order now,
yeah,
as they file through, potentially. Well, meanwhile, Marcus Luzio is doing Marcus Luzio things at the front of the order. It's on for a perfect run through the qualifying heats. When you talk to him down in the dummy grid, Anthony, he looked nervous, but he's performing yet again. Now, what are we going to have a look at here?
Oh, right, okay, so there is... Right, now that could be Raymond Blanc there. Now, where's Joseph Smith? There's Joseph Smith just going past on the left-hand side. Well, it says Blanc on the suit, but I know what they're like with their races here.
It's Sam van der Heijden, I think. Is it Sam van der Heijden that's fallen down the order a long way, down to 28th place, the 254? It's the same team, isn't it? It's going to be the same team colours of KCR Racing. I think that's another case of suits being swapped between drivers.
Yes.
But, well, there is Joseph Smith definitely out of this race now. And what a bitter blow for a driver who's not put a foot wrong so far. And he's furious. He's absolutely furious to be out of this race. And that is a big dent in the hopes of points for this weekend.
Certainly is. Definitely put a spanner in the works there. Well, Lewis Bird now with the fastest lap of the race. This is going to be Lewis Bird's best result. He has had a nightmare weekend, hasn't he, Lewis Bird? I did catch up with him very briefly. I said, how's it going, mate? And he said, well, it's going terribly. It's not going well at all. Qualifying was terrible. First heats were terrible. It's all going bad. But now he's moving up the order now, and he's in P5 now. So, yeah, having a very good one. So, confirmation it was not Raymond Blanc that's left the race. Yes, he's still in. That is Thomas Hansen. Good effort, Thomas.
Good effort,
Fair play to you, mate. You went for slick tyres. It didn't pan out, but hats off to you. You didn't follow the rest of the pack. You thought of another plan, but yeah, it didn't pan out. But fair play to you, mate.
And in terms of what he had underneath him, I think drove pretty well. He kept it on the island, was respectful of everybody else. He wasn't spinning around out there and causing yellow flags. But yeah, not to be on this occasion. Here's your driver in second place. Finn McLaughlin is nicely playing his way into contention here this weekend. Had a not great start by his lofty standards, but he's currently sat 7th in the intermediate classification, which, if I'm right in saying, would give him 4th.
I think he's
for Super Heat 1.
I think he's second or third row or something like that. Yeah, for thing, and that's absolutely superb.
Yeah.
You know, that definitely means he's on form to get into the final. And you know, after that really bad qualifying session that they had, where they had the red flag and they had to go out again, and they never got a quick time in, they were nowhere near competitive with the rest of the field. Sparks kicking out then from the drivers as it's just gone pitch black here, where you know it's these drivers will be really struggling to see at this moment in time. But there is only a lap and a half to go then of this race, and the sun is still up in the sky. It's just the clouds are so thick, it's so dark here. It's unbelievable.
We look to the south of the circuit, we can still see the sun shining on the hills in the distance. It's just this thick black cloud that's sat over the circuit at the moment. It almost feels like a solar eclipse in a way at the moment.
It does a little bit.
The temperatures have gone down to solar eclipse levels as well. Still 2 laps of this one to go. In fact, no, not 2 laps, because that's the final lap board going out. That was lap 8 being completed. And Finn McLaughlin's not given this one up yet.
No, he's taking chunks.
1:15.3 last time around for the Irishman. 1:16.1 for Luzio. Marcus Luzio is going to have the VDK Racing kart right on his rear bumper as we go into Sector 3 here, possibly even sooner.
Yeah, this could be interesting here. The gap down to 1.2 seconds. It was over 2 seconds a lap ago. So Finn McLaughlin, like I said earlier, is taking chunks out of Marcus Luzio here. But Luzio, even if Finn McLaughlin got past, it's not the end of the world. He's absolutely fine. He doesn't need to defend it. But if he wants a perfect round of qualifying heats, he's going to defend this spot 100%. Coming into it now, just over a second. I suspect it's probably less than a second now as they go through. 2 very different racing lines there. But 2 drivers who are very used to racing in wet conditions and tricky, slippery conditions, just such as this. Here comes McLaughlin Wow, if he can get a move done in the final corner, I don't think Lucio knows he's there. Is he going to go full send here into the final corner? No, he's not close enough. It could be a run to the line, though. Is it going to be a perfect weekend for Marcus Lucio out of the final corner and across the line? He will see the checkered flag, and he secures pole position for Superheat 1 tomorrow. And that's a delightful one. He kept his cool under pressure. He said he would. He delivered. We caught up with him very briefly before the start of this one, and he secures that spot. Superb driving from Marcus Lucio and the entirety of that grid as well. The last second change, a hats off as well to the super hard-working mechanics down there as well, who got those karts race ready in fine fashion as well. I mean, I feel devastated for Jan Gomez.
Yeah.
Firstly, 100% devastated. Missed out on getting onto the grid by 20 seconds. I feel bad for Thomas Hansen as well. You know, really pushed that luck for going on for slick tyres. It just didn't work out for him. Big shame for him. He had to retire from the race. And then some dramatic moments there. The front row of this race, both of them one didn't start, one didn't finish.
Well, it just shows you what can happen in 9 laps of karting, and it's been karting of the highest quality here today at Suera. For Marcus Lucio, well, the questions keep being asked. Can he withstand the pressure? Is he going to make a mistake? The answer at the moment is simply no. He takes another win. It's a perfect run through the qualifying heats. Every time Marcus Lucio is taken to the circuit here through Thursday, through Friday, through Saturday as well, he has been your winner. There's still a lot to do. There's the super heats and, of course, the final tomorrow. Remember, we didn't finish the final in Valencia for Winter Cup, but it's a win. It's a good day for premium karting. They take the win by nearly 0.2 of a second. A brilliant finish there from Finn McLaughlin, who took the fastest lap in that one, 1:14.9. Austin Gale was third, up 20 spots. What a race for the Croc Promotion boys.